Professor Greng Sak, Charan Wong Sak, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a pleasure to be invited to preside over the award-winning night of the Nation Building Institute. It gives me also opportunity to meet a number of old friends, and it gives me particular pleasure to be introduced to new friends who I hope that we would meet occasionally in the future. I have been in the Thai diplomatic service for over 23 years. I have traveled widely in Southeast Asia. I have made many friends. I receive all the kindnesses, advice, and counsel from my friends in this area, for which I'm most grateful. And I'm glad to see that the relations between the ASEAN countries, together with the southern part of China, have developed to such an extent that there is no proxy war in our part of the world. There is no hostility. There is evident friendship and cordiality. There is mutual respect. There is a common agenda, and there are shared objectives. These developments have been nurtured for the past 40 to 50 years. It was not born overnight. It was conceived by a group of patriots of the 5 ASEAN countries, all of whom have deceased. We in the succeeding generations had to take care of this particular baby. We have to nurture this particular vehicle for cooperation and for collaboration in all fields. We have had failures in this journey, but at this time and day, I think we have achieved much progress from where we started over 40 years ago. This is something which brings pride not only to me, who played a small part in this development, but I think it brings pride to all the countries in Southeast Asia and the neighboring countries. I'm delighted to hear the history of Nation Building Institute, its objectives, its goals, and what it's been doing. A number of the recipients of this award tonight are my personal friends, particularly from the countries outside Thailand, be it Ratan Tata, be it Tunku Mahathir, Tun Mahathir, or be it even Bichai Weerawaitaya. And of course, a number of those who live in Thailand, whom I have seen occasionally. If you look at the list of the recipients, you'll find that they are patriots. They are nation builders. There was no schooling for them. Nation building is an art. It's not science. It's an art in development. You cannot adhere to theories, to classrooms, to concepts. It must start from your heart and travel up to your mind. have to have right attitude. You have to have the right mindset. You have to care for people. You have to have compassion. You have to have commitment. You have to have courage. Never afraid of failures or setbacks. You have to have perseverance, even persistence. You cannot have despair. You must always have hope and aspiration. Above all, you're not afraid of failures or setbacks. You always strive forward, test out the waters, try out new experiments, keep on trying and trying until you succeed. That's how so many inventions and innovations were created. Thomas Edison experimented about 100 times or even 1,000 times before he invented light bulb. At the same time, never forget the practical side. We in Thailand, I always say, not cynically, but honestly, that the Thais are not good at organizing, except for events like this that we are. We're not good planners. We're not good at execution. But we do reflect a certain characteristic that became an old saying in Britain, and that is, we always muddle our way through. If you know the history of our country, you'll find that we did not survive Western colonialism. Not for nothing. We are good at diplomacy. We are pragmatic people. We never believed in a zero-sum game before that particular phrase was invented. We believe in accommodation. We believe in mutual interests. We believe that everybody needs a fair deal. And these are attributes of the Thai people that are often overlooked by us ourselves. But I think they are recognized by the foreigners or by those who have studied the history of Thailand. These are the things, the practical things that I think I would like to leave with you tonight. Not to the recipients of the award, but perhaps to the graduates or to the students. Textbooks are good and are necessary, but practical work is more important in this world where the speed of internet and communication vehicle is much faster than what it was 100 years ago, or even 10 years ago. There have been also disruptive innovations taking over the order business of banking, retailing, tourism, etc., etc. In the early 70s, Alvin Toffler wrote a book called The Future Shock. When the book came out, it became a number one top seller within a few months. I remember I was living in New York at that time, that how excited people were that this book was written by somebody who was hitherto unknown in the literary world. In that book, he did say about the changes that have taken place. The internet. And he said that in the old days, when you say people are illiterate, what it normally means is that people can write, read, and do arithmetic, or what was known as the 3 R's. But in the early 70s, nearly 60 years ago, he said we are now facing a situation that when you talk about literacy or people are literate, it's not like 3 R's. It is you have to be able to learn, the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So we all live in a very exciting world. I'm not sorry that I'm getting too old to see through the century, but I'm sort of retarded in the fields that I'm talking about. I can never learn, let alone unlearn, least of all relearn. It's too late for me. But you people, you will live much longer than I do. And these are the challenges for you now and the future.